Welcome back, everybody. This is Wonder Gaming Empire with the third part of the How to Play Civ 5 Brave New World tutorial. In this part, we're finally getting into the game, so this should be pretty fun. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to set up the game. It's going to be very simple. I'm just going to do... Well, you know what? Let's just do a tiny map for now. That way the game will go quicker. And I'm only going to play, hopefully, to the ancient through classical eras here, just to make it quick. And I will do the game on Prince, which you shouldn't. If you're new to the game, do it on Chieftain or Warlord, or you're going to get in trouble. But I'm going to do it on that, because there's more diplomacy available. I'm going to make this Legendary start, and I will do... All the other settings should be pretty normal, except game pace quick. Continents is a good starting... a good map in general, but I'm actually going to do Pangea because that allows us to meet the other civilizations faster. And I guess I will do the default civilizations, but I really would rather... You know what? No. Now this is not normally what happens, but I'm going to add a few more just so you can see more variety. I'm going to actually do 8 because my computer can handle it. I'll leave these on. Resources I will go back to Legendary, like I said. And, yeah, I'm just going to leave everything else alone. Maybe not these. Okay, civilizations. Oh, any civilization possible. Let's see. A civilization... I'm going to use one that doesn't have any specialties directly for the ancient era. That way they won't get in the way of anything or make it confusing. So, let's see. Let's just go with America. And everything else will be completely random. Now what you'll notice is it'll show you a little introduction to your civilization right when you go into the game. So we can just witness this for now.
Welcome, President Washington. You lead the industrious American civilization. Formed in the conflagration of revolution in the 18th century, within 100 years the young nation became embroiled in a terrible civil war that nearly tore the country apart. But it was just a few short years later, in the 20th century, that the United States reached the height of its power, emerging triumphant and mighty from the two terrible wars that destroyed so many other great nations. The United States is a nation of immigrants, filled with optimism and determination. They lack only a leader to help them fulfill their promise. President Washington, can you lead the American people to greatness? Can you build a civilization that will stand the test of time?
Alright, so to review, the B-17 is a unit from way later in the game, so we won't be seeing that, and the Minuteman is from the Renaissance era, so we won't be seeing that. But other than that, all land military units have +1 site and 50% discount when purchasing tiles. It's not really that useful, so it won't make a difference, which I'm trying to do on purpose so that I can show you what a typical basic game looks like. Oh, okay, I guess we automatically have seen ancient ruins. So you start out like this in the average game. There's resources around you. Most of the time, unless you're not next to the coast and you want to move to the coast, you're just going to found your city right away, hopefully around some good resources. And then I immediately send my warrior out to explore because you can find ancient ruins and it clears away this fog here. Now, you can choose what you want to do first. You can build a worker to improve your tiles, even though you have to research different technologies to be able to do that. A scout, which is what most people do, just to explore better. They can move faster along the ground than the warrior, even though they're weaker, so the warrior is for defense. And then a monument helps you get culture faster. I'm just going to go for the scout right now. And, you know, there's a lot you could do here with these, but I always go pottery because a shrine is the stepping stone toward getting a pantheon for the religion. And not everyone gets a religion. There's only a certain amount allowed per game. Like, there's 3 allowed here. And there's 8 civilizations, which normally there's 4, but... So, hopefully we can get to that. And this will give me a random bonus of some sort. 55 gold. There you go. And that can help you a lot. And as you can see, it takes a certain amount of turns to build that scout. This is completely based on the production of our city. And if you want to get more in depth, we have 1 citizen. And that means that they will be assigned to a different tile to work that tile. So we got them on the food here, and the city automatically gets certain amounts of that stuff. Because it's the capital, we get some palace bonuses, but that's only for the capital city. And now you can see here, there's little bits of these attributes, and once we get more citizens, we can start working more of these tiles. That doesn't mean that you can't still like put improvements on the tiles with the worker. It just means that there won't be people actually in the fields hunting the deer or harvesting the bananas. But there's a basic amount of food being taken just from the wild bananas growing here, and the production will add up over time. So now we can move him over here. We can see there's bison here, and there's stone here. And this here shows how many turns it will take, and you can see the date here, how many turns it will take until the next citizen is born. So now we can send this warrior over here. Oh, what's this? We discovered the Grand Mesa Natural Wonder. You're going to want to build a city near these if you can, so you can get them in your borders. You can get pretty decent bonuses. But it looks like there's a city-state here. I haven't met them yet, though. I have to go up on that hill first. And now, as you can see, Washington has grown by +1 citizens, so now it has 2. And they're ready for a new construction project because the scout is done. So now that I've sent the warrior over here, it's only wise that I send the scout over here. And we can put him up here. You have met the city-state of Wittenberg. You are the first great empire they have met, so they provide you a gift of 30 gold, which is normally 15 if they've met others already. And they give you their treasured religious idols, awarding you 8 faith. That is amazing. You know why? Because it requires 6 faith minimum to found the next pantheon. Every time a pantheon is founded by a player, the cost to found one goes up. So it's harder for players who come late to the game to get there. But because we had the luck of meeting a city-state that was a faith-based city-state, a religious city-state, we automatically got that. So now next turn it will let us choose a pantheon. And so now here we are. We can build a settler, but it stops the growth of the city, and so I would not do that this early on. So I'm thinking a monument because it'll increase the speed in which we acquire these policies. And here we are with this. I'll explain more when we get to it, but you get to choose tradition, liberty, honor, or piety. Depending on your civilization and your status, you're going to want to choose a certain one. This one allows you to build stronger cities, like bigger cities, better cities, but it's best for small empires, because the bonuses are mainly for the first few cities. Liberty lets you expand really fast. It gives you bonuses for settlers, for tile improvement. Honor is mainly for fighting barbarians and gaining military abilities to fight other civilizations, and piety is just for religious purposes. It helps you you can get a reformation bonus to a religion. Basically, if you want a religion, this is the one to guarantee you get a religion. Anyways, next turn. And on quick speed, you're always going to have these turns flying by. You're going to go through arrows a lot quicker. This is just for the demonstration here. And for the typical game, I just don't like to wait around too long. Now, I found Mount Kilimanjaro. And every time you find a natural wonder, your happiness goes up by 1. Just a fact. You get 3 food and 2 culture, and this one's special because you get altitude training as a promotion to your unit when you go up to it, which I will show you next turn. Don't end your turn in a city-state's borders. I'll show you what happens. They get very angry. So now I can found a pantheon. Let's see, what suits my city the most? I have deer, I have 1 tile of jungle, I got bananas, I got crab. There's all these different ones you can choose from. What would suit me pretty well? Well, look at this one, +1 food from camps. There's going to be a camp here eventually for furs, and for that deer there. And eventually, if we expand that far, for bison. I would say that's the best one for this situation. Although there are other ones like +1, let me find it. +1 production from fishing boats. But let's just go with the camps one. What you're going to notice here is there's 2 food on these tiles. It'll still say that, but when we work the tiles, it will give us an extra food than we would normally get. So no other civilization gets that if they don't have this religion. So now, pottery is almost done. Oh, we met the Russians.
Приветствую тебя, незнакомец. Если твой ум и такт сравнимы с твоей привлекательностью, мы замечательно поладим.
So you meet a civilization randomly in the beginning of the game, and they say some little line to you, And these are your options. Declare war, don't do that. There's no point to doing that so early. You can trade with them,
Говори.
which we don't have anything right now, but we will later. Demanding usually doesn't work unless you have a strong military presence and they're not strong-willed. Discuss, you can
Продолжай.
propose going to war with someone. You can denounce them, which will just make everybody not trust them, and it'll make them very angry. And you could ask them to be friends, which doesn't work unless you have good experiences already with them. Or you can tell them not to settle near you, which will make them angry. You can scroll right over this here. This tells you their attitude towards you. There haven't been any incidents yet, so.
Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest thou?
There's a little quote every time you get one of these technologies, and that'll show you what you unlocked and give you a little description. So the granary is going to make your cities bigger and give you extra food from wheat, bananas, and deer. And the shrine just gives you 1 faith. And as you can see, there's a maintenance cost of both of these. And now it says here, you are trespassing in the lands of Wittenberg. As long as you have units in their territory, influence with them will decrease. This goes to show you do not want to invade on their territory, because they're not a full-blown civilization. If you do this to a full civilization, that'll be declaration of war. But they are lesser, so you don't need to worry as much, but you still shouldn't make them mad, because you can benefit from being friends with them. So now we can go get these runes. Your unit equipped itself with advanced weapons found, and basically it became an archer, even though I don't have archery unlocked yet. That's a special thing about it. And Mount Kilimanjaro, we went next to it, so we got this ability. Double movement in hills and plus 10% combat strength when fighting in hill. So now we can say, well, what could we get next? You can open the giant technology tree and see everything all the way to the end. If we want trapping, we're going to want to go with animal husbandry, because that's next up. But we could go for sailing and get those crab too. For now, I think we'll go with animal husbandry, though, because that'll lead to trapping. And the Russians have got to be over there somewhere. Let's go over here. Oh, we met Antwerp, a mercantile civilization. They're based on happiness, and each city-state, actually it's a city-state, not civilization, city-state has a certain personality trait, which will determine how they act throughout the game, giving you different quests and such. These are the resources that they currently have, and yeah. There's our first barbarian encampment. They're not really like cities, they're more of just like forts that you destroy when you reach them, and you get a little bit of gold from them, and there's units you have to kill, otherwise they will come over, take your units, kill your units, or kidnap your units. There's Coco. Go over here. Oh, we're gonna make them angry. Oh, no, we won't. That ability just saved our butt there. And now we can see them, barbarians over the coast. There's always an automatic bonus for barbarians, but when you go into the social policy tree and you adopt honor, it gives you an extra 33%. So let's see. And another thing to remember is that since there's so many barbarian encampments early on, city-states will reward you for becoming violent towards these camps and destroying them. When you become friends with a city-state, like it shows 0 of 30 here, once you go to 30, then you will be friends with them, which means that they will let you cross through their borders without hassle, and they will give you small bonuses, like happiness, for example, with this one. Or culture for a cultured one, or religious ones will give you faith. And then you can become allies if you go way further than that, and that's pretty much the best, because you get the resources and everything else. You can pledge to protect them. It's not really a big deal. All it does is it makes other civilizations, like, it tells them to stay away from them and leave them alone. You can ask for tribute if you have a big military presence, which will piss them off really badly, but it'll be a good investment if you want to get some little bonuses at some point that you desperately need. And now we're almost done building this monument here. Oh, we met Spain.
Soy Isabel de España. Continuar.
They don't have anything, so we'll just leave it at that. Surely the Russians are over here somewhere. And as you can see, Wittenberg's borders just expanded to take the Grand Mesa. So if we were ever to want to get the Grand Mesa in our borders, we would have to take the city-state over. I'm just going to check what's over here before I go after that barbarian encampment. Oh, it looks like the Russians are down there. And there's the Spanish. And somebody else. Looks like Sweden.
Främling, välkommen till Snökonungens rike. Jag är Gustav Adolf, medlem av den aktade Vasaätten. Jag lyssnar.
Surprisingly, there's a lot of European civs in this particular game, even though I set it to random. So now we can go for the shrine, even though we already have the religion, but we should go for the shrine, the pantheon we have, not the religion. We should go for the shrine anyways.
Thou shalt not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out the corn.
And you can see this unlocked a lot. We can now do land trade routes, which will give us gold, because we only got +1 right now. It reveals horses, you can build a pasture, and you can do one trade route. Russia got a good starting spot.
Haide che de, Alexandro sei mi, hyoston anakton kai ekonoston theon.
And that's the Greeks. And the reason we're meeting everyone so fast is because this is a tiny sized map, as I showed you before. But now you can see we got that technology where trapping. Let's just go for that. We can adopt our first social policy because our culture has reached the amount required. So now we can choose whichever one of these we want. And now all these little abilities in the tree, those are all separate. You have to unlock the tree itself first. And then when you finish off all the policies, you get a big bonus too. So adopting tradition increases the rate of border expansion in cities and also grants 3 culture and unlocks, you get certain world wonders you can build only from unlocking these trees. But I would say let's go with liberty, just because it's the American thing to do, I guess. And it will help us expand faster and give us 1 culture in every city, which we only have 1 right now, but it'll change later. And it unlocks the pyramids for us to build when the time is right. So let's go back up here. See, now they got a bigger military presence. We can go over here. Wow, there's a lot of good resources. And as you can see the happiness up here, each turn you have a certain amount of happiness, and that is added to a a bank here, almost, or a stockpile. And if it reaches 335, you get a golden age, which gives you extra gold and bonuses for production and culture. Tourism we won't be seeing until later. We don't have any horses right now. These are your trade route slots and your gold and science, obviously. We can go pretty far. There's some ruins, so we should probably go for those next. And it looks like we found someone over here. Ooh, 2 barbarians. Definitely not worth staying over there. Let's get over here. Grab those. So now we've found activity of barbarian encampments nearby. So we can actually use that to avoid them. And we should go down there and meet whoever that was. So eventually these turns become just a little repetitive, just with exploring in the beginning. Oh yeah, that was Spain. Okay, so now let's go, I'd say warrior, because we can go for citizenship as soon as we get our next policy. You want to try to keep everything in mind here. Your policies, you want to keep track of when they're coming, you want to keep track of which buildings and units are coming, because it all plays together like this. If I had a few more units, I would be able to deal with that a lot better. And you can't go in their borders. And now, let's see. Let's go next turn again.
Min vän, det är min övertygelse att denna uppgörelse kan gagna både mitt och ert folk.
So basically, yeah, I get the 1 gold in exchange for an embassy. Which means he gets to see where my capital is. So this just means who has the most production generated, which is me.
Even brute beasts and wandering birds do not fall into the same traps or nets twice.
Nice little quote. And we can finally choose citizenship. I like to choose citizenship first, because you can go to Republic first. But I feel that if I get this, and then I can get the representation policy, it makes each city you found increase the culture cost of policies by 33% less. Then it's better doing that than going straight to settling new cities right away. Get more faith and money from La Venta here. And now I can finally build that camp. Looks like I'm being followed over there, but I'll just leave that to Spain and Sweden to deal with. And now, well, let's just go for the library. So as you can see, the score here changes. And there's Egypt. The score here changes. If they would let me look at the score for more than a moment. Come on. Oh boy. The amount of money you have, the size of your military, the buildings, the wonders, it all affects your points. And this is for time victory. That's the only reason it matters for the most part. You're not going to need to worry about that. But right here, they will kidnap my unit. So while I can fire on him, I need to move him into my city. And I should probably bring my warrior back home. Look how far I can move with this. We can see all the way around Madrid over here. It looks like they're building a farm on this wheat. And a thing to keep in mind with religion, now that I have +1 income for my faith, it takes 134 for a chance at a great profit. That doesn't even mean you're going to get one for sure. So it's definitely not cheap, and it's not easy to get a great profit, but it's certainly worth it in the long run. And another thing to keep in mind, once you explore more and more of the map, it becomes smaller around you because you can see the larger world around you. So you're going to want to keep track of that very carefully, so you know what's around you, because the map gets so much larger that it's harder to see things. And there's a lot going on over here. I'm just going to get out. Put him on here, over here. This is a very long continent, it looks like, which is this Pangea, so it should be. And let's see what else we can do here now. You know, there's still a ton of these barbarians. I think I'm going to go for one more warrior. Our production is doing well enough that we can afford to do that. It's only going to take 3 turns. You always want to have good defense around your cities, because you could build all these tiles up, and then some barbarian comes by, kills your unit, if you don't have enough of a military presence, and it just ruins everything, and you do not want that to happen. That would be just awful. Something else to keep in mind. This is 12 combat strength for the city. Moving a unit in there will increase it by a certain amount, and depending on your religion and social policies, you can get bonuses based on having units present. Okay, so we fired on him. Go on right in there. We found where Athens is. We can move him over here. Let's see if we can sneak around those barbarians. Okay. And as you can see here, the followers, this goes for religion or pantheon, but you will have a certain amount of followers and pressure for your religion when you get it, which I'll show you when I actually get a religion, hopefully. And that's going to be important in keeping your religion present in the world. Because the more cities it has, the better Let's get this guy going through here more. And see, the reason I actually decided to work the furs before I work the deer is because deer is not a luxury resource. Furs is. Furs gives you 4 happiness and 2 gold. This just gives you an extra food. So you're going to want to work things that are more valuable. Alright, and then we got another warrior coming right here next turn. Oh, look at this.
He who destroys a good book kills reason itself.
It looks like somebody settled right next to us. Those borders look like Denmark. Let's check it out. This'll take a turn or two to get over there, but we should be fine. Okay, and now let's go for, you know, bananas and deer with the granary will give us a lot of food, so let's go for that before the library. And let's do sailing, because then we can get this crab here, which is a luxury resource, but instead of the 2 gold, it gives 1 food and 1 gold instead of the 2 gold, but it still gives 4 happiness, just like other luxury resources. Same goes for whales too. Okay. Next turn we should be able to see what's going on over there. This is one of the things that happens a lot. The AI will just randomly settle near you, which is an aggressive thing. Don't ever take that lightly. Oh boy, here we go. Okay. For now, I'm moving back. I gotta get this guy over there. And then now, watch the happiness. +4, so now I'm at 8 happiness, which means this is gonna go up by 8 instead of 4, and it'll get me closer to a golden age faster. And you can see better breakdowns of all this too. You can see exactly what you're spending, and in fact you can go into more detailed things than even that. Like right here, there's advisors that tell you stuff you can do. There's basic demographics. Diplomacy overview is pretty useful. It can tell you everyone's income and what resources they have. Like Ramsey's in debt here. Like he's losing money. He's not actually in debt, but he's losing money. Deal history, all the deals you've made with other players, and then global politics. You can see which social policies other countries have adopted and which eras they're still in. And it looks like everybody's still in the ancient era that we have met, even though there's one player we haven't met that's number 1 right now. So hopefully we can come across them soon. Okay, let's get this guy over here more. Try to block him off from reaching the city. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. You can go scroll right over their attitude and see all the reasons for the way they feel. Usually it'll be neutral in the beginning, even if they don't like you much. You can just see here all the different quests, like defeating barbarians, information about the city-states. A lot of this is self-explanatory, so I don't really need to go through it, but then there's also all these other lists that just break things down better. Like, for example, city list just tells you basic information. You can go to the economic overview, which breaks things down even more, but for the average player, you don't need to see much of this. You can just figure stuff out on your own. You don't even need to have the science up if you don't want to, but most people use it. Okay. And yeah, I'm just going to play until I reach the classical era.
Как тебе понравится, если я предложу такой обмен?
So now that I have writing, I'm able to exchange an embassy for me and get one for her, because she has writing, which means we both can see each other's capital cities better. And it looks like they just founded a new city, which means I should really get to founding one soon. I'll fire on this barbarian here, move over there, attack that barbarian. And it looks like I still can't see that city. But I'm almost positive that's Denmark. You can tell by the colors. Like mine, it's got a blue tint to it. Denmark's is brown. What if I go here? There we go. Aarhus. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So once I clear this encampment, hopefully I can settle right over here. And civilization founded a pantheon, Denmark. That's the one that increases ranged combat strength of cities. Now I'm gonna finish this guy off. And then finish this camp off. And then I'll go down there. It looks like there's some pretty powerful barbarians, so I'll keep my distance from them. So soon everybody's going to start expanding their cities really fast now. I will have a better capital city than most of these guys, but you gotta expand.
He who commands the sea has command of everything.
Get another trade route slot. And I'll start my golden age. I gotta find that last civilization. The one that I have not met yet. And I'll just send this guy down right away. Not gonna launch any attacks quite yet. Until I get everybody down there, hopefully. Maybe a little sooner than that. Granary finishes next turn, which will give us a ton more food. And then you can kind of look at it eventually. Like, I could go for stoneworks, which is really good for the stone. I could go for mining to clear these, to maybe clear a forest if I needed to, or to build a mine when I expand into these hills. I could go for optics, for a lighthouse. I could go for pretty much anything. I'll just go for archery. So now, as you can see, the deer actually is giving me 4 food, when normally it's not supposed to. You can open the Civilopedia here, type in deer. It gives you +1 food, as well as it shows, but it's on grassland, which automatically gives you 2 food. So the bonus of +1 food should equal 3, but because of my pantheon, goddess of the hunt, +1 food from camps, I get 4 food. That's really good for an early city. Even here with the furs I get that, because it's a camp still. If I had built a camp on these elephants over here for the ivory, I would have gotten an extra food for that as well. It can be anything practically that has a camp involved in it. Okay, so there's too many barbarians right now for me to build a trade route. So instead I'm going to build a library. Oh my goodness, there's another barbarian. I'm going to try to buy myself some time. And as you can see, because of the Golden Age, my gold and culture are slightly increased. Well, they should be. Okay. Another thing to keep in mind, always try to have your units, if they're near other units that they're fighting with, end in a forest or jungle or hills or a rough terrain, because them attacking into forest gives me a bonus because I am defending in an area that's rough terrain. Rough terrain, basically just terrain that would be hard if you think about it to attack. Like, it's not hard to attack on these plains here, or these, this is plains, this is grassland. It's not hard because it's wide open. A forest is hard because it's a forest, it's dense. A over a river is hard because you got to cross the river. This jungle is hard because it's jungle. Hills, you got to go up the hill. Desert would be easy because it's just flat and plain desert. Attacking from water is always really not good for you because it will mess you up. Almost here. This guy's going to die next turn, so I got to get him out of here. But first I'm going to attack. There's a flanking bonus. The flanking bonus is very beneficial. Okay. I don't think I need to see what's over here, so now I'm going to go all the way back over here. Build another camp. And as you can see, it's only going to take 3 turns to get to the next size for my city. For the next citizen to be born, which means things are going pretty well for food.
The haft of the arrow had been feathered with one of the eagle's own plumes. We often give our enemies the means of our own destruction.
So we get the archer, and then the Temple of Artemis. As you've seen, there are a lot of wonders that you obtain specifically through unlocking a technology. In fact, that's what the majority are. They cost a lot to build, though. You can see the archer costs 26 production. The Temple of Artemis, 123. They give amazing abilities most of the time. Like, if I were to build the Temple of Artemis, it would help me build archers and bigger cities faster because there's a production bonus towards ranged units, which the archer is a ranged unit, and a growth bonus in all your cities. So now I'll send this guy down here. Looks like this guy's on the run. I should probably go after him, but I think I'll let him go just for the moment. No, I'll attack him. Finish him, come on. No. Okay. This is a hill, this is a hill, this is not. Still gotta find that last guy. So now I can see these shapes are what your different advisors would recommend. My science advisor recommends that I research mining. Because if I research mining, then I can build mines and chop down forests, which somehow the science advisor feels is a good idea. Military advisor wants me to get a chariot archer. Odds are it's because there's barbarians down here, and like I said, the flat terrain, which chariot archers are good on because they have a lot of moves, they could maneuver well through here and fight. The economic advisor wants me to build to unlock this technology, the wheel, because watermill. Actually I can't build a watermill because I'm not on a river, but I would assume it's for roads or something along those lines. And you know, it'll give you a little description of everything anyways. So, I think for now, the problem with chariot archers is that you need horses, and I don't have horses in my borders, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to go for mining. And it looks like a different player, the one player that I haven't met, has entered the classical era. And I've gained enough production to be promoted, and something not everybody knows, you can click edit and change the name of your unit. So we can call this unit anything. We could call it a patriot. And let's just say we want to heal the unit. Send this guy down here. First I'll finish this guy off. And then I'll go after this guy. Try to get the archer over here, back home. Let this gentleman heal. Finish off that camp. So now look how much food we have. 4, 4, 2. Library is going to be done. And what the library does, simply to give you science, is that for every 2 citizens you have, it gives you 1 science. So we're going to have 6 citizens, so it will give us 3 science.
Meat shall inherit the earth, but not its mineral rights.
Okay. And we do not have the calendar yet, so working this bananas over here is not gonna help us much. So instead we'll go for the sheep. And they have spawned another barbarian unit. Anytime that there is an encampment, they will be spawning units, so we should try to wipe out the encampment as quick as possible. And it looks like the last player must be past Laventa and Russia. So I'm actually going to go straight for the archer, so I can finish these guys off once and for all. And a plantation, because then I can, or a calendar allows me to build the plantation and stoneworks and maybe Stonehenge if I want to go for that religion. Another pantheon was founded by Egypt. Here's a random little ranking. Now, as you can see, something that I kind of despise is that my warrior was attacked by this unit, and it gained enough experience to be promoted. So I could have healed it, but because the turn wasn't over, the barbarian in the encampment still was able to attack. And what that did was it gave them the opportunity to kill me before I could use my promotion, which I would have used to heal. And so now their encampment is wide open, but I lost my unit. So what I'll do, I'll go in the encampment. You have dispersed a villainous barbarian encampment and recovered 16 gold. Yeah, I will get attacked, but I got an archer coming from my city, from over there. I should be fine. I can build a pasture to harvest from these sheep. I can send my archer over there. I will take this guy down. And I can fire on this barbarian unit here. All these ranged units early on will help you with taking out barbarians because they don't get damaged when they attack because they're not melee units. And actually, if you take a look at the map, Spain founded their second city already. They never seem to found their cities in very good spots. Like, this one is like, what were they thinking? They founded it right on some wheat. But that's just the computer player for you. So now we can go for the workboat. Or do we want to go for the settler? I think I'll do the workboat first, simply because then we'll have more happiness that we can obtain. Because every time you found a city, it reduces the happiness.
Teach us to number our days, so that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom.
My golden age ended, so my production is back to normal and such. And I pretty much have complete control of this little area here. I can fortify until heal for him. And this city will be on a river, so I might as well go for the wheel, so that I can build a water mill. Here's an interesting situation. So Spain is basically really mad at Greece. And Isabella wants me to team up with her and declare war on Greece. Now, that may sound fun, but for somebody like me in my position, I do not want to do that. So I'm going to say, sorry, we have no interest. The reason is because it will make me look like a warmonger, which means that I just want to kill everybody. Other civilizations will not trust me, they will not trade with me, and I really have no reason to treat them badly. They haven't done anything wrong to me. In fact, they're making a lot more money than me. Okay. Let's just send this guy over here. I can take that encampment down too.
Wisdom and virtue are like the two wheels of a cart.
So a workboat is different than the worker, because the worker can keep building, but a workboat, you use them and they're gone. And then to go further, I will have these other warriors and archers keep an eye out to make sure nobody else tries to settle the area, while these guys, as you can see here, because there's hills, I'll go over this. I'm going to make a separate video based on the combat system and how to effectively fight. The best thing to do here is to go right here. You might wonder why go backwards, because this archer was a scout, so it ignores terrain costs. I went right on the hill, get an extra move, because 2 moves, and actually, I got double movement in hills, and the terrain cost is ignored. But I can fire from a distance onto this barbarian brute. So he's weakened. And he can't reach me because I have a unit here, and there's a hill in the way anyways. But actually, I'm gonna send this archer up there, followed by let's go for the settler. Actually, wait. Well, it'll take too long for me to go through it like that. So I'm gonna go for that. I'll go for the spearman now, with bronze working. Oh, looks like the Russians just took the camp and wiped out the barbarian. I suppose that means they did the work for us. But still, I kind of want to be able to go over there and see what exists. So I will give this guy that bonus there. Try to get him through there. And then this guy and this guy, I'll move back home. And as you can see, there's no growth while there's a settler being made. So I'll let him heal there. I can go over, don't have masonry yet. I'll go for masonry instead. Now here I could clear out the jungle when I get bronze working. And I got mining, which allowed me to clear out forest, but I'd rather keep the forest so I can build a lumber mill and get more production rather than just wipe it out and build a farm or something. I'll get this guy going again. So you have to be careful how you utilize your natural resources, because once I destroy this forest, it's gone forever. I can't just bring it back. I'll actually send him further over here to make sure nobody comes across this little area. I'll keep him in there. Looks like I'm not going to be getting through there until Denmark moves their unit, so I'll let him heal. I'll wait for masonry next turn. And just so you know, you can move by right-clicking and holding it until you find which area you want to move to. This tells you how many turns. And then there's the different things you can just click to build here. Do nothing literally means do nothing. You can make them automatically improve things, but I don't like to because I feel that it doesn't choose the right things sometimes. So yeah, I'm just gonna let him do nothing there. Isabella entered the classical era.
How happy are those whose walls already rise?
I can clear the marsh now because this is a huge marshland down here, so that'll be helpful. Build the quarry. I'll fortify until healed. You heal when you fortify. You heal a small amount when you're in just general territory, a lesser amount when you're in enemy territory, like if I were at war with Egypt, if I were near Thebes in their border, I would heal even less, and then if you're in your own territory, you heal more. I don't know the exact amounts, but it's pretty reasonable. I'll just finish off bronze working next. Now I can get this guy moving. See if I can get around the Danish warrior. Greece declared it's protecting Antwerp, so you can do that. You can protect city-states, so other civilizations will know that you're gonna be mad if a civilization attacks that city-state. Okay, we should meet the last civilization pretty soon. And there's all these wonders we could still build. I'll actually be going for a caravan next, just so I can explain how it works. Okay. Oh, and there's Copenhagen.
Here Hector entered, with a spear 11 cubits long in his hand. The bronze point gleamed in front of him, and was fastened to the shaft of the spear by a ring of gold. The king's might is greater than human, and his arm is very long.
And that means I've reached the classical era. Now I will go a turn or two more, maybe even a little more than that, just to demonstrate a few more things here. I really wanted to see who the last civilization was too. So I'll keep these guys on alert. And keep in mind my score is pretty low, but the reason is every time you found a city your score shoots up. So I'll just go for construction. Someone else built the terracotta army. And the Inca are the last ones. And they got 4 copper. They don't have the ability to do an embassy yet, but they have 4 copper. So if you have more than one of a resource, that means you can trade it pretty easily without any problems. If you trade your last copy away, you lose the happiness. The happiness is the key. If I had 2 crab, I only have 1 right now. If I had 2 of these, I could have traded with the Inca because they have 4 copper. Computer players are programmed to be more likely to trade if you have more, and if they have more of the resource. And they trade resource for resource. If it's the last copy, they're very picky. So now I can unlock a republic. And Singapore. We've met Singapore. And let's just... Oh, another thing to keep in mind. You have to be a certain amount of tiles away. You can put tiles on with the hex grid here. I am within 4, so I can't settle the city there, but I can settle it right on the other side of the river. And you can even turn resource icons off if you want. See, now I am spending more than I have, so I'm in debt. So now here's a caravan. This is going to work the same with the trade ship units, the boats, the cargo ships. You click Establish Trade Route. It shows you all the cities around you that you can reach. Your ability to go further with your trade routes increases as you go throughout the game and unlock new technologies. The arrow going to the left means how much you will bring home of that particular income, like science and gold. The arrow outward means how much they gain. So you want to choose one where you gain as much as possible. You can trade with city-states too, but if you gain science, it means they have technologies that you don't have, and if they gain your science, then you have technology they don't have. So Copenhagen will give me the most money, but you gotta check early on if there's gonna be barbarian encampments in the way, because they will take your unit, kill it, take the money, and then you just lose the trade route. So now I'm not super poor anymore. I have gold coming in, and I can settle my new city. They have preset names, but you can really change it to whatever you want. Like if I just wanted to change this, if I like a different city better, like let's just say I liked Buffalo better, I could change it to that. You can do whatever you want. And yeah, so that's all I really need to go through here. You know, all the new cities after your capital you'll have to rebuild everything and get your production revved up again. You can see all the information for the civilization, like Pachacudi. You can see what they're willing to do for a deal. Like, this would be a bad deal though, because it's my last fur. They'll take the deal because they have 3 copper, but it's a bad deal for me because I will lose the happiness of the furs and gain the happiness of the copper, which really means that I'm not really gaining anything, but they are, because they're only giving away 1 of their 3 copper in exchange for the fur, which they don't have. So they're gaining 4 happiness, I'm gaining nothing. You can even trade your cities if you really want to. I would not recommend doing that at all. They usually don't trade cities. And so that's just basically a quick intro into the very beginning of the game. It's very straightforward, and everything just kind of increases off the beginning. So all you have to do is you found your city, you start exploring and seeing what's around you, meeting other civilizations, establishing embassies, build some warriors, kill the barbarians, try to settle your next city, and basically expand throughout the game. Try to get some strategic resources. I didn't have any, but this was just a quick demonstration. I would have had some in the next 5 turns anyways. With the horses there, I would have gotten a worker. Never neglect your resources, like work them the best you can. Don't just get a bunch of cities, because then you'll realize that you didn't work your tiles. You have a bunch of unemployed or just low income cities. And keep your gold up. I don't normally play as America, so I don't have the best experience with them. I usually play as civilizations that are based on gold, but always try to keep a good gold income, because if you're losing money, you're not going to be doing well. And production is insanely important. You want to keep a high production. This is very good, mainly because of the resources I was given. Deer and forest, that type of stuff gives you good production, along with this stone here also helps out. And you know, you kind of have to just deal with whatever you get for your start and try to make the best of it. Sometimes your start can be really good with all the perfect resources. You get the Pantheon, you have the right land forms around you, maybe you get a natural wonder and get a big bonus like Wittenberg here. And you found cities in the right areas, but like over here, Sweden could pretty much expand up here. They could expand along the river anywhere here. They could expand over here. That's a better spot than mine, because I have a thinner radius here for me to use to expand. You can see Russia already expanded here. Denmark already expanded here. So even though I had technically a worse start, that doesn't mean that I'm going to do worse in the game, because it's about the decisions you make throughout the game. Like, for all I care, I could take over Denmark and then have all of that and be better off than Sweden anyways. So yeah, the culture overview I never got into, because this is not important yet. It's only important later on in the game, which surely I'll take a look at later if I do a victory for culture type of tutorial. Yeah, and it looks like that's all for this part of the game. And I'll certainly be making more tutorials showing the military aspect of the game, because I only killed barbarians, and it's a little harder when you're fighting actual civilized nations, like the Spanish spearmen here. If I were actually fighting it, it would be slightly different rules applying, less bonuses and such. So I'll make a video about that, and then I'll probably make a video of just playing later in the game or something along those lines. And then that should be good for the series. So if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.